On heartbreak, a fleeting smile, a moment of comfortable silence, a picnic on a warm Sunday afternoon, and an old handwritten note. As humans, there are things of which we simply cannot let go, no matter how hard we try. Ironically, the things we try to let go of, we often cannot, and the things that we try to hold on to, we just can't contain. Eventually, memory becomes as fleeting as time itself. Yet, memory is one of the only tools humanity has to make sense of what can seem like a senseless world. In the mundane and we of life, the salient memories are often the most soaring heights of achievement or the bitter, crushing, breathless defeats. Perhaps one of the most memorable of such defeats is the crushing blow of heartbreak. Can anyone escape heartbreak? It can strike in any moment. It only needs a moment. However, it would be reasonable to assert that heartbreak is not exclusively romantic. There are perhaps endless opportunities to practice responding to heartbreak. Losing a game, not being able to find a favorite sweater, or failing to be hired to your dream job may all be considered heartbreak, depending on who you ask. But none of these conjure up images of heartbreak quite as well as the dreaded phrase, "I don't love you anymore." What constitutes heartbreak? There is a particular twang of pain in the heart that is hard to put into words when explaining heartbreak. Maybe that's why so often it is the subject of art and media. Indeed, music and media itself can be heartbreaking. Songs like The Suburbs by Arcade Fire and Best Intentions by Hodera are heartbreaking songs despite listeners not having a formal relationship with either artist. Although the relational presence may first appear to be absent, it is all too easy to evoke heartbreak as the listener fills in the cognitive gaps with their own experiences. This is a small miracle. A complete stranger or group of strangers is able to speak so potently to a shared experience that is somehow still so hard to define. While it's easy to recognize that it may not exclusively be romantic, heartbreak might also be said to be more than simply a generic loss. For instance, losing a sweater and falling out of love both involve loss, yet the latter has a sting to it that losing a sweater obviously doesn't. Ironically, sacrifice, which necessitates loss, could also be said to be the very essence of love itself. The emotional stakes are high in both heartbreak and love. Love makes a willing sacrifice, but heartbreak often makes an involuntary one. The relational nature and finality may help define heartbreak, but that does not paint the whole picture of what can often be a long and grueling process. My dad always told me, don't get too high in the high and too low in the lows. While I would agree with this advice and appreciate its wisdom, it does not seem to account for the cold winter months of heartbreak, when there is seemingly no highs in sight. Sustaining an even keel composure can be exhausting, much less a positive one. Maybe this is the most elusive element of heartbreak. Whether it be hearing those cursed words, "I don't love you anymore," learning that someone has simply moved on, knowing that someone is not thinking of you when you can't help but think of them, or experiencing someone being unfaithful in a relationship, the wounds take time to heal. Any number of situations can induce a blood-curdling, stomach-knot-tying sense of pain in both mind and heart. In addition to its sense of loss in relational nature, heartbreak is marked clearly by its longevity, and, in contrast to its origin, its effects have no certainty or finality. Such ambiguity is intimidating, maybe even more than the actual loss of the heartbreak. The nature of heartbreak necessitates loss, a relational aspect, and has ambiguous longevity. Is there more to life than finding or pursuing love? When all we have to make sense of life are faulty memories written in sand and lying feelings that can be blown like a leaf in the wind at any given moment, love can be tempting to cling to. It's hard to say. In any case, making such a commitment involves more risk than committing to any philosophy or religion. Love is dangerous. To their credit, philosophies and religions are usually more clearly defined, multifaceted, and holistic, which may act as practical fail-safes in moments of crisis. Surely, a life solely concerned with interpersonal love is limited and unfulfilled, but it can certainly seem tempting. Can anyone escape heartbreak? With every earthly love, there is inevitable loss. And with such an approach, this inevitable loss could remove all constructed purpose from life in one fell swoop. Perhaps even greater is the person who makes such a commitment and defiantly presses onward. In fact, such defiance, in the face of hopelessness or a hopeless situation, may summarize entire worldviews in wrestling with the absurd. What's more is that in such an unavoidable suffering, the human condition is captured and evidenced. Feeling deeply is not wrong. To experience life and make the largest possible scar in the fleeting sand of the mind, deep feelings must be allowed. This is not possible with a half-hearted attention, but with a devotion, throwing oneself into the depths of feeling and emotional phenomena. Heartbreak is part of the fullness of life. So, as long as I am still able to recall a fleeting smile, a moment of comfortable silence, a picnic on a warm Sunday afternoon, and an old handwritten note, and I can't help but cry, I know that I am human.